Okay, hi guys. So I'm going to show you now. I'm just going to say that a cat, if you guys want to do a cat or a dog or even a wild cat or even a cow, all of these are going to be very, very similar because really what you're going to do is their faces are longer, so you're going to make their faces longer, and you're going to do ears, right? Because you're just doing a head. And so it depends on what, I mean, even with a dog, this is the dog I printed out, but there are so many different dogs. There are some dogs that have floppy ears, and you'll have to figure that out. And there's some that have tiny ears, that have smaller noses, bigger noses. So that part is going to be totally up to you. But a cat and a dog and a cow and there's a lot of animals that are going to be very, very similar. Okay? So what you're going to do is take your what you already have. Now mine's really big, so mine's going to look kind of funny because I don't know if I have the right size of all this other stuff. But if yours is smaller, you probably have an easier time. But you can always just look around your house and try to figure out what you already have to use. So basically all I'm going to do is, if I had a cat, cats' mouths don't stick out as far, but dogs often do. Some of the dogs don't. So it depends on what dog you're doing. Like this dog, you can't tell as much right here, but if you know this dog, its mouth will stick out pretty far, right? So one way to do that, so I have a bunch of options. Okay, now obviously this does not look exactly like a dog's nose, but this is the beginning of a dog's nose, right? So I'm going to make my head go this way instead of tall way, okay, because then a dog's face is going to go long ways instead of tall ways like ours. Does that make sense? Okay, so basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding a nose to the end. Now it looks funny on mine, like I said, because mine is so big, but I can figure out how to make that change too. So if I do a dog like the one I showed you, I'm going to stick this on the end. Okay, so I'm going to get the pointiest end, which is this end. Now I'm going to stick this on. Here's some masking tape. You have to stick it all on really, really, really tight though, because you're going to be paper macheing, and paper macheing makes it mushy because it's wet, and then it's going to want to come off. So I'm going to start on both ends on either side first, just to make sure it's in place. Now one thing is, you can always build up with newspaper. There's a lot of newspaper used in paper mache projects. Okay, so keep going on this, keep taping and taping and taping. Because mine's an example, and I might not actually use this part, I'm not going to tape as much as maybe you need to. But you guys keep taping until you know that it is really secure, it's really strong on there. Okay? A lot of these projects, or a lot of these parts of these projects will maybe need extra hands. You might just need somebody, you might need to ask a sibling or your parent or somebody to come over and just hold this while you tape it, or they can tape it while you hold it. You guys get to decide how you work that out. Okay, so if I have this, now it still is so little for a dog on this size of head. What I would do is I'd probably use a bigger jar or a bigger thing. I could make it really, really big. I have another one. Let me grab it real quick. Okay, so I can do this. I can actually get this and make it really big. All right, or I can use I can use this guy. That makes it bigger. Do you see? But just since I already got this on here, I'm going to show you one thing that you can do. If we go back to newspaper, you can rip off newspaper. And then this time I'm just going to kind of crunch it, and I want it to be thicker. Or you can just wrap it, but you want it to just be bunched up so it's thicker. And I can just start wrapping this around this to make it thicker. Now this is just, it doesn't look great. It doesn't matter right now, but it will just matter when you do your paper mache. Okay, one thing is, if you guys don't know how to rip, this is hard to hold on to things and do this part. But I've done this a lot, so I can do that. But for you, you might want to do this before you start. So you get a bunch of pieces of tape, or if you need some help, you grab a piece of tape. Sometimes it helps to do this. Tape, put it on the table, so that you guys already have tape ready to use, so you don't have to do all that extra work that I was just doing. Okay? That way you can just grab it. All right, so I'm just basically, I'm not going to go through the whole process because it would take me a while to figure out exactly how long I want this, and but I'm just building it up so that it looks more like an actual nose. So you're probably going to use a lot of tape and a lot of newspaper depending on what you're doing. Now, you can also, because the end of their nose is not flat like this, you see how it's flat? You can also take some newspaper and literally you just crunch it up into a ball. Okay? Then you're going to crunch it up. I'm going to need longer pieces for this part. Okay, so I crunch it up into a ball, put it on the end so that I'm rounding it. Do you guys see how I'm rounding it out? And then tape over it. Okay, so it's not perfect, you guys, and I'm gonna add to it, but it's not perfect, and I'll just keep adding a little bit, just give you a better idea. But you're starting to see how the nose is rounding out and how I'm just making this turn into more of the correct shape. You just keep adding and adding and adding until it looks right. Okay, now do you see how it's starting to turn into the right shape? It's not perfect, but it is starting to turn more into that shape. So when you do feel like you've got a good shape, just tape this guy up because you don't want it to be falling apart on you. And just like the paper mache from last week, just make sure the tape goes wherever it wants to go because it's the same as paper mache strips. It's still flat. You just put it on and figure out, say, where do you want to go? And figure out where it wants to go. Tape it as much as you can so you don't have things lifting up, and also because it keeps the shape of it. The newspaper will just start getting soggy and all that, but this will keep the shape of it going. Okay, so you would do more tape than this, but do you see how it's starting to turn into that shape? All right, so if you were making a dog, the next thing you're gonna do is you're just gonna cut out the shape of an ear. It depends on what kind of dog you did, or what kind of cat, or what kind of, whatever you did, what kind of animal you did. So you get the shape of an ear. This part, you're gonna wanna make a little tab to actually stick it, because it's hard to stick this to here, because it just will be floppy. So what I mean by making a tab is, I did this before with, I don't have a ruler next to me, but you can use a ruler, or you can use a piece of wood, something that's strong. And I'm just gonna place it, let's see if you can see that. I'm just gonna place it, I'll even show you, maybe I'll just draw you guys a little line so I can show you. You're basically making a tab at the bottom. I want this part to be a tab. So I go and I put this on that line, I push this down, oops, it's not holding it. Push this down, and then I push this against it. Okay, so all I'm doing is making a fold, but it's just harder to fold cardboard than it is to fold paper. So see how I made that little tab? Okay, then you're gonna figure out where on the head it goes. All right, so if it's facing like this, it also looks, this one looks kind of like a pig. You guys can make a pig, whatever you guys want. I'm gonna stick it up here, and then I'm gonna tape on the tab part. I'm gonna tape it on really, really good, really tight. Okay, now you might have to force it because because this thing is not straight, or you'll just have to tape the ends really, really well. Okay, Okay, so to see that, I would put another ear here, and that's pretty much what you do for a dog, a cat, a pig, a cow, just whatever you decide. You just have to figure out what the shape of their ears are and the shape of their mouth, and then put it on there. And then what you're gonna do from here, and I'm not gonna do it right now because this may not be my final project, but you're gonna do your paper mache strips. So I'm gonna get a paper mache strip, I'm gonna get it all wet, and I'm going to make sure that it sticks on right here. So I might do one this way, just like I did my tape, and then do some this way, but you wanna do a lot of paper mache anywhere that there's something stuck on there. So doing it like this, that's not enough. You can do this and you do lots more. So I'll do this, I'll do the next layer right here, because you know how you overlap. I'll do the next layer right here. I might even do some going this direction, like this, going up like that, so that it's really attached to it. I would actually do, I would paper mache the back of it too. I would do strips like this, going up like that to make sure that it's on, going this way, okay? I'm gonna paper mache over the entire nose when I'm done with it, to make sure that that's on really, really tight and it's part of the whole head. And then you'll start seeing that it actually looks like a head. Because right now it's different colors, it's made out of different things, but if you do the whole thing over, it'll start looking like it's just part of this, okay? So you're just gonna create your structure, whatever your structure is for whatever your animal is, and then you're gonna paper mache on top of that. For the ears and stuff like that, you don't have to paper mache over the top of the whole ear, but it is gonna make it stronger, okay? So that's up to you guys figure that out, but you do have to paper mache wherever it is touching your piñata. You have to make sure that that part is really, really strong, okay? Okay, go have fun.